from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of Mandalore. Like, if there was, like, I don't know actually, I don't know the history of Mandalore. Friends of Mandoboria, because that first you say, well, fans of a man that bores. If that's the case, you're in the right place. If you're a friend of Mandalore, I still have to figure out what that means, because I say, well, okay, so it sounds like there's just like every other, it's a mixed history. So when I say friends of Mandalore, I probably should just say, if you're a fan of Mandoboria, to sleep, it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast to put you to sleep. Hey, everybody, before we get moving here, I just wanted to let you know a couple things. Sleep With Me is here to support you, to support your good night's sleep. If you need more resources right now, you need someone to connect with, there's links to organizations you could connect with right now. Make a call, make a text, use an instant messenger right in the show notes. So please use those resources. Sleep With Me is also here to support the lives of our Black listeners and the Black members of our community and Black mental health. So there's links to resources so that you could be a part of the solution. You could be a part of healing and harm reduction in our community. So please connect with those resources as well. And here's the sponsors that enable me to bring you the show twice a week. If you ever want to see me using the sponsors' products, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. You could check out me using everything, or, playing with it and stuff. So what do you say? Oh, yeah, so here you go, I guess. Thanks, everybody. Hey, this is Scoots, and I was just wondering if you could take a second and look back at how your year with Sleep With Me went, because 2020 has been a year, and I really hope the podcast was there for you when you needed it. How many times did you listen? How many months have you been listening for? Thanks so much. And then when I think about 2021, I'm going to be there on a regular basis, just like I was here this year for you, to put you to sleep and to keep you company. And I don't know if you're in a position you say, wow, I really did listen to a lot of Sleep With Me in 2020, probably 100, 200 episodes. If you're in a position to do so, could you consider becoming an annual patron for 2021 or a monthly patron? It makes a huge difference. That's how I was able to be there. There was certainty. Sleep With Me was there Wednesday and Sunday night for you. And a big part of that was because I could rely on the patrons, just a small percentage of listeners who are in a position and choose to be rebels with a cause. They say, I get so much out of a free podcast, I'm going to pay for it. And now people are becoming annual patrons. They're saying, I'm going to make it. I know I'm going to use Sleep With Me for the next year. Or I know a lot of other people get a benefit out of Sleep With Me. So think about it. You could do it at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Sign up as a monthly or an annual patron. If you do an annual patronage, you'll get a month for free. But think about it. I'm going to be here for 2021 either way for you. But if you're in a position to do so and you got a lot out of the show in 2020, think about being a rebel with a cause and paying for a free podcast. It's pretty rebellious, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. All right, everybody. Tonight's episode of Sleep With Me is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Counseling. Working with a licensed therapist has literally changed my life for the better, and it's something that is part of my weekly routine for self-care, for the relationships in my life, for the relationship with myself. So if you're starting off the new year and you say, I really want to take good care of myself this year, think about your mental health. Maybe you've tried therapy in the past and you're thinking about giving it another try, or you've been curious about it. This is a great opportunity for you to take care of you. BetterHelp offers online licensed professional therapists who are trained to listen and help you with issues. And that can be issues like anxiety, depression, stress, things that come up in your relationships, with your family. They can help you deal with grief or sleep issues. And for me, it's really about also putting tools in your toolbox. A good therapist therapist. It gives you what you need to make your life more manageable and then flourish. That's really what their goal is that you could flourish. And it's about finding the right therapist. And I know that can seem overwhelming or intimidating, but BetterHelp makes it easy. You simply fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with your counselor in under 48 hours. You could easily schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus exchange unlimited messages with your therapist from the comfort of your home. Everything you share is confidential, and if for any reason you're unhappy with your counselor, you can request a new one at any time at no additional charge, so you could find the right person. Join the 1 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp counselor. BetterHelp is a convenient and affordable option, and Sleep With Me listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code SLEEPWITHME. That's one word, Sleep With Me, to get 10% off your first month, and you could get started today at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. That's BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. And remember, there's no shame in asking for help. You deserve it. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Ideally, this is one part of the podcast you hear. It's where I pop my peas and thank the people who supported the sponsors and then let the sponsors know about it. Huge way to help the show, especially like if you say, well, I'm not so sure. Like if you sign up for a free trial from one of the sponsors like Beachbody or Headspace, that is a gigantic way to help the podcast for free. And then you get to test drive the product, the sponsor, and like you hear in my things, it's like, oh, wow, these, you see that they're really good things. So please, that's just a giant way to help the show. But I want to thank Muppet, Cornelia, Susan M., and Angela, who all signed up for that Headspace trial. Oh, boy. Do I love Headspace. I use it on my smart speaker. I use it on my phone. So thank you, Muppet, Cornelia, Susan, and Angela for checking out Headspace. That's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. If you support a sponsor, also, if you want to say, Scoots, I'm not so sure about these sponsors or whatever, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. I'm pretty sure by the time you hear this, I'll have a video of me using every sponsor or checking out every sponsor or unboxing, so you can check them out too. So you say, oh, okay, now I feel a little bit more comfortable. I totally understand where you're coming from. That's why I'm making those videos. That's the sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. You can remember that when your hand hits the fridge. That's what I always forget to say too. The other thing is supporting you. There's links to links to organizations that can help you right now in the show notes. We have a long-term partnership with BetterHelp, so it's another longer-term option. So please use those resources. They're right in the show notes, your podcast app of choice. And then supporting members of our community. And that means not just saying Black Lives Matter or Black mental health matters, but looking inward and then acting outward to be a part of the solution. So there's going to be links to organizations you could connect with or learn from in the show notes. And then also something I'm supporting is Beam, Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective. It's a group of therapists, lawyers, religious leaders, teachers, psychologists, advocates, and activists working together for mental and emotional health and healing in the Black community. So you could utilize their resources or you could support their mission. And the links to that will be in the show notes. And that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Song sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer, and Ashley. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. It's almost Christmas, y'all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. We're raising money for the Water Wheel Foundation, and Scooter might get
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. And that could be thoughts, things on your mind that you're thinking about, rumination. Oh, look out. When was the last time I talked about rumination? Regular listeners say 2 weeks ago, Scoots. Because I feel like I need to ruminate about rumination. I feel like it's been too long. I feel like I've had, not a repose or a respite, but something like a break, even though I think those both mean a break. So whatever your thoughts, things on your mind that you're thinking about, feelings, it could be emotions coming up about those thoughts or about something else, or they could just be there. You're experiencing them, or maybe you're not. Sometimes I experience my feelings, and sometimes, I'm trying to not experience them. So it could be feelings, physical sensations, could be change in your routine or your partner's routine or your family's routine. Could be something else. Whatever it is, especially third, fourth, fifth shift people. So many industrialists have sent me messages recently saying, quit talking about the fifth and sixth shifts and the fourth dimensional shifts. We were trying to keep a lid on that, Scooter. Also, they don't exist. There's only three, because now the great, and it was like the TP barons. I don't think I've ever heard from the TP barons till 2020 and now 2021. But they're out there. Baron von Scott, and then that one, the Baron von Scott's the one that reached out to me and said, now we have employees requesting to work on the fifth and sixth shifts, and we don't know what to do. And I said, well, here's the thing. I said, well, I don't do that for free. I can't consult with, and they say, you realize this is like a monopoly. That's what happened in 2020. And I say, okay. Well, I said, oh, I'm sorry. Well, this is just an imaginary conversation. I'm supposed to be starting a sleep podcast. So whatever's keeping you awake, I'd like to take your mind off that. What I'm going to do is I got a safe place, Charmony Soft, or whatever. It's a pillowy soft. If you want a firmer place or something, I got plenty of room. Also, despite what that, our facilities are stocked, by the way, in our safe place. So whatever that Baron said is just not accurate. Whatever it is, whatever's keeping you awake, I got a safe place here for you to rest, for you to catch a breath, and to start to wind down. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. That's right, my dulcets are creaky. That's dulcet. I have no idea. D-U-L-C-E-T, maybe. Creaky like a door. Dulcet, like a shiny bauble, like the audio version of that. Creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders. That's where I go. You've seen one of those. And superfluous tangents. That's when I'll talk. Somehow I got to talk about rumination. You think Rumi ruminated at all? I mean, would Rumi be I'm sure that's how Rumi found Rumi's way to a more mindful place, is probably from like a few decades of rumination. That's just a guess, but because you say, wait a second, like this rumination, I'm not cut out for ruminating. But I got to get to these new listeners, so I'm going to send my voice across the deep dark night. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep. There's a lot of counterintuitive things about the show, so I just want to tell you about them right up front. The first thing is, this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You just barely kind of listen, almost in a, not a totally passive way, like humor me. like almost like not like you would humor a friend. I guess you like, because I got to earn your trust, right? We can't just become friends, obviously. That you might be skeptical or doubtful. So just humor me like you would someone. Like, let's say you were like stopping to, you just say, like that kind of stuff. You say, like, that's the kind of like you just barely listen. Just like when you barely listen to people during the day. Like, let's say you're in line at like a quick store, a quick shop, and you're just getting a couple things and someone's talking to you about something and you like, you might have other stuff on your mind. Or they might be talking daytime nonsense. They might be ruminating. They might be expounding on something they've been ruminating about. And you might just try to be polite and say, okay. Oh, boy. Yep. No, well, okay. I got my Twinkies. I got to go now. Thanks. So for Sleep With Me, it's just kind of like that, where you're like, okay. Rumination, huh? Okay. Just Baron von Scott. So that's the first thing. Barely, you just kind of like this podcast is almost like sand running through your hands. The other thing is this podcast really doesn't put you to sleep. There's other podcasts out there that are kind of designed to put you to sleep. This podcast is here to keep you company while you fall asleep. And the difference is that you don't have to listen to me, but that that's why the shows are about an hour, and also that I'm here twice a week. It's so what I forgot. I literally forgot what I was talking about. I don't have to put, oh yeah, this doesn't really put you to sleep. I just keep you company. I got mixed up in the middle of a sentence. So that's why I'm going to be here to the very end. So if you can't sleep, I'll be here to keep you company. But most of the time you just kind of fall asleep at your leisure. You just barely listen to me. And then the next thing you know, it's the next day. Or tomorrow, ideally. So no need to listen, no pressure to fall asleep. The other things to know if you're new is the structure of the show. The show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of Mandobors. So that's a greeting, so everybody knows they're welcome, so you feel seen and invited in. Then there's support for the audience. Then there's support for the show, like business. Then there's an intro. And the intro runs somewhere around, I don't know, like minute 5 or 6 or 7 to minute 20 something. Somewhere around 12 to 18 to 20 minutes of introduction. And the intro serves a purpose of keeping you company while you wind down. It can really throw people off because normally introduction is just, a minute or two. You say, well, here's what the show is. This is what the show's going to be about. And this is what we're going to do. And what I found with Sleep With Me is that's just a little too abrupt for a sleep podcast. Because then suddenly, at least for me and for a lot of listeners in the early days, they said, well, then I'm supposed to fall asleep. Then you started the story that I'm supposed to fall asleep to. That's a little bit too much pressure. So the intro grew over the years to what it is today, and that's so that you can ease into bedtime. It's kind of like bonus meanders. That's one day if we have a plush character related to the show, somebody remind me to just come up with a character named Bonus Meanders. Or maybe it'd be like T Bonus Meanders, because maybe Bonus Meanders would be in a suit. T Bonus Meanders, that would be in Baron von Scott. I think maybe one day they'll be in a story together. But I forget what else. Now I got T-bonus meanders running around in my brain. But so the intro serves a purpose of easing you into bedtime or being part of your bedtime routine. Because Sleep With Me for some people it does work very fast. But for most of us, and the way the show is designed, it's great if it works fast for you, is that it's meant to ease you into bedtime. So as part of your wind down, whether you're in bed or you're getting ready for bed, to give you some distance from the day. So that's why it goes on and on and on. You can skip it, though. Most people find after 2 or 3 tries that they really enjoy the intro. But yeah, 2 or 3% of listeners and a few thousand patrons enjoy just listening to the stories. Or like, so if you're listening on this feed, you just start the show around 20 minutes or something. And that won't be exact, but that'll get you close. So that's the intro. Then there's business between the intro and the story. That's kind of the main place where podcasts have their business. That's called the mid-roll, even though it's called the mid-roll, even though it's not in the middle of the show. It's like the first quarter. It's after the first quarter of the show. So we get that done. Then we start the bedtime story. Tonight it'll be a recap of the Mandoborian from season 2. And, oh boy, will we be talking about Baby Oso and, some people may say this podcaster doesn't know his grief cargus. He doesn't know the difference between grief cargus and reef cargus. Also, it's not cargus. And I say, you're right. And it's not grief or reef. And I'd say, well, it's a family, okay? Just because you don't know about the greater cargus group, and I do. That's how I met T-Bone, whatever. What was that part of my brain? T-Bone meanders. But so you're right. I don't know my grief cargus from my reef cargus. Though I may write some fan fiction now. You say, yeah, I'm the boring cargus brother. Not even an accountant for my brothers. We were twins, not like those solo twins, though. I always spent most of my time solo at home. That's grief cargus, I think, or no, maybe reef cargus. But I know I never scuba dove, but I love reefs. And so, yeah, that's my hobby, is thinking about reefs. Oh, reefs. Did I say reefs? I meant wreaths. Anyway, so so that's what we'll talk about, the Mandalorian, in a very meandering and indirect way. And, I kind of get fixated and go off topic and stuff. So then there'll be thank yous at the end of the show. So that's the structure of the show. The reason I make the show is twofold. One, you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place you could rest and get a good night's sleep. You just deserve that. That's just a fact. And it's also a fact that if you get the sleep you need, your life's going to be better. And all of our lives are going to be better. That's like, it's just the fact of the matter. And that's important. It's important to me to be able to provide it if I can. Now, this podcast does not work for everybody, so hopefully it works for you. And then the other reason I make the show is because I've been there. Like, I just read a review from somebody that was a chronic insomniac that doesn't sleep to the show, and that's just there listening for some company in the deep, dark night. And that's why I make the podcast. I make it to put you to sleep, but to keep you company when you can't sleep. Because I know that lonely, desperate feeling that happens in the middle of the night. And if I can take your mind off of that and keep you company and just tell you a goofy story, or, be silly. And then either I keep you company, maybe I make you barely giggle, or you fall asleep. That's why I'm here. So, yeah, so those are those two things. I think that's it for the stuff of the show. I was just thinking of rumination. I mean, it's not a bad word to say, though it feels heavy in the mouth. Rumination. I mean, I think because it's got a heavy load to bear. And it's so close to ruination. I don't know if you just change a couple letters or what. Rumination is like, that one's hard for a dyslexic to spell. Ruin is R-U-I-N. Ramination. Is there a ramen place called Ramination? Because there should be. I would presume there is somewhere. It's almost a little bit hard to say. Ramination. You'd have to think of some reason. You say, why is it called Ramination? And you say, well, and you say, okay, first of all, which nation is it in? Typical U.S. I'd say, okay, well, we have a globe with at least every continent, we have different ramens. It's ramen, but that's international. That's not, okay. So you're right. We have to rethink this dining concept. Is it going to be fast casual? I don't know. I never know what that means. It will be like the place where you go up and you order from the place. Well, that might just work with your concept because you have the ramen already ready in the bowl. Okay, somebody patent this, please. I own this idea, just so you know. And then you have the broths and then the toppings. Ramenation. It's ramenation, where ramen is possible. For dinner, for fast casual, meal. Okay, so anyway, so I'm basically here to just keep you company if you're ruminating. If you're ruminating on ramenating or ruination or anything else, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff because you're important and your sleep's important. I appreciate you coming by. Like I said, not everybody, this show just doesn't work for everybody, but usually when people come, they're skeptical or doubtful, which is totally normal. So all I can say is give it a few tries and see how it goes and see if it works for you. That's what most reviewers say. It takes 2 or 3 tries to get used to its creaky dulcet tones, its pointless meanders, the fact that you don't listen to him. He doesn't really put you to sleep. He just keeps you company. He does have to earn your trust in order to lose it. Also, the show structure. So yeah, but eventually I started falling asleep, no problem. So just give it a few tries, see how it goes. If not, there's a lot of, you can go sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you and check out other sleep podcasts and stuff out there. But I really appreciate you coming by. I work really hard at Your Nice Drive, and I really want to help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do this for you free twice a week. All right, everybody. This year I'm refocusing on what it means to take care of myself, and it couldn't be easier than with Daily Harvest. They've been one thing that makes me feel better about myself, my day, and my life. We've been using Daily Harvest throughout 2020 as part of our breakfast and our lunch and quick snacks. So when you place your first Daily Harvest order, I want you to make sure that you get a tart cherry and raspberry smoothie, and the mango and papaya smoothies are absolutely amazing. And then I also love the Harvest Bowls for a quick, easy lunch, but my favorite is the quinoa and chipotle bowl, and it's great on its own, or it is amazing with either a salmon burger or an egg. Holy moly. And so easy, but a quick lunch or a quick breakfast you could really feel good about. Sophia and I, it's just been a big part of our routine this year, so I'm so thankful that Daily Harvest is back with the show, and I want you to try out Daily Harvest. Daily Harvest delivers delicious food, all built on organic fruits and vegetables right to your door. It literally takes minutes to prepare, and I never have to think twice if the food I'm eating is good for me. Daily Harvest is ready when you are. Everything stays fresh in your freezer until you're ready to enjoy it, so you waste less food too. They never use preservatives, added sugar, or artificial anything. And seriously, Daily Harvest works directly with organic farms to freeze their ingredients right on the farm at peak ripeness to lock in nutrients and taste. They're also committed to minimizing their environmental impact. They're in the process of transitioning to 100% compostable, recyclable, plant-based, and renewable fiber packaging. And with Daily Harvest, there's something for any time of the day. Smoothies for breakfast, crisp flatbreads for lunch and dinner, and food that's perfect for cooler weather, like perfectly roasted Harvest Bowls and soups. With Daily Harvest, I'm enjoying undeniably delicious, clean food without any of the prep. And whether you're looking to have your daily dose of fruits and veggies, or you just want to have a little bit more time on your hands, Daily Harvest is there for you. Get started today. Go to dailyharvest.com and enter promo code SLEEPWITHME for $25 off your first box. That's promo code SLEEPWITHME, one word, for $25 off your first box at dailyharvest.com. That's dailyharvest.com and use that promo code SLEEPWITHME. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about Air Doctor. You know what's keeping my air fresh and clean all winter long is my Air Doctor. It is an essential part of our home, and as a parent, I love having the Air Doctor in Sophia's room when she's going to bed or when she's working from school at her desk in her room, because, you know, there's all kind of things that come into our homes, whether it's through deliveries or going out and walking the dog, things from the freeway or the city, you know, when your dog brings the outdoors indoors, whatever it is, you know, people having fires in their fireplace, Air Doctor takes care of all that. That's why I'm so excited to partner with Air Doctor. It's a professional air purifier. Americans spend 90% of our time indoors, and according to the EPA, indoor air can actually be 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. So in this new stay-at-home normal, filtering out contaminants in our home is an important step we can take to boost our immunity and stay healthy. A professional quality HEPA air purifier is recommended by leading medical experts as an effective way to reduce airborne germs and viruses and protect your home. That's why airlines and hospitals use high-quality HEPA filters to keep their air safe and contaminant-free. And Air Doctor's got so many things I love about it: the adjustable fan, the auto mode, the night mode, but it really just brings me peace of mind. There are some amazing features Air Doctor has that make it professional quality and that make it different from just ordinary purifiers. And this is why I recommend it. It has a medical-grade ultra HEPA filter that captures 100% of particles at 0.003 microns in size. That's 100 times more effective than ordinary HEPA filters. It's powerful enough to circulate the air in a 400 square foot room 6 times an hour. It's independently tested to remove 99.9% of tested bacteria and virus, plus virtually everything else: pollen, dust mites, dust, and smoke. And dog hair, too, because I've seen that. Its whisperjet fans are so quiet it won't disturb you while you're having a conversation or trying to sleep. And I'm just scratching the surface of this amazing product. It also has a built-in sensor. I love my Air Doctor. It just comes down to it's that simple. And Air Doctor comes with a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund. Just go to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code SLEEP and you'll receive 35% discount. That's right, a 35% discount. But that's only if you go to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code SLEEP. That's AIRDOCTORPRO.com and use that promo code SLEEP. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk Mandalorian. Time for the Mandoborian on Mandalorian. We're talking about Season 2, Episode 4, Chapter 12. Can't remember the name of it, but we'll find out soon. Starts with the old Disney on the Plus, and then there's a recap. We have, I forgot the young person's name. I just call him, I was calling him, you know, fish person. But aptly, is that the right word? Well played by Horatio Sands, I think. And we see it from the first season, the first episode, when he gets busted by the Mandalorian. Oh, is that me? Must be some mistake. I could get you credits. And the Mandalorian says, carbonite or no carbonite? And he ends up carbonized because he ran away, I think. Then they're scanning Werner. We got the Werner, paging Dr. Werner. And they're scanning Baby Oso and Mandalorian. This is in the days of the floating pram, which we just lost recently. This is floating pram 1.0. Assets important to me. Dr. Pershing, who's the doctor, and Yoda. Oh, not Yoda. I don't know. I got distracted because everything is moving so faster than I can talk. But Mando has to rescue Baby Oso from Werner and Dr. Pershing. And he says, leave the kid alone, man. Then we see Cara Dune in a couple different action shots. We see, who's that? Moff Gideon in the X-Wing. Mandalorian, Grief Kargas, and Cara Dune parting ways. Then the failed takeoff and landing, or no, the takeoff in wherever they were last week, Swamp City. Then we have the Lucasfilm and Disney Plus, or the Lucasfilm and Star Wars things. Sounds like Dustin from Stranger Things. Oh, that's the person at the Hey, Oso. Did you, oh no, this part's, sorry, we're not there yet. TIE Fighter, Carl Weathers, Sea Ship, know where I'm taking you out. Then Lucasfilm, Star Wars. And they run out of, they're low on gas. So they're trying to fix some stuff. So he says, okay, let's try this again. He's got Oso. Goes, do you have the wire? So a little bit of comedy and revealing about the Mandalorian's character. But he's, like, this is desperate times call for desperate measures. But again, this is a bit of a high wire act that they pull off because it's like a very piece of classic comedy. Plug the red wire where the blue wire is. Plug the blue wire where the red one is. Do you know what red is? And Baby Oso's talking baby talk. Plug the red wire in where the blue wire is. Don't look at it. Don't put them too close. Okay. Do you understand what it, don't touch, don't cross the streams. See, it's very cute. Baby Oso and the Mandalorian's exasperation. He says, do you understand what I'm doing? It's in there. He's in a little crawl space that only Oso could fit in. They're oppositely charged. So, and then we see the comedy, we see the thing. That one's straight out of an 80s movie, but it still works. Smoke. Oh, he sounds like Dustin from Stranger Things. I don't know why I put that, but the Mandalorian, maybe just the way Mandalorian. Oh, yeah, because Dustin one time was giving directions to somebody over the phone, or when he's had to give people directions. Red wire, blue wire, what? No. Red wire, blue wire. One was, be careful, zoinks, steam. How did they get that to work? I mean, that's what I just said. Worth the sea shoots. Then Oso drinks soup. No way. Oso looks as the Mandalorian drinks his soup, covers his face. He takes a couple ones. Oso breathes loud in this scene. And then there's a cut. There's music. I think Mandalorian cheering music. Just trying to see if I missed anything here. Who knows if I missed? I mean, I missed a lot. I miss you much, as Janet Jackson once said. In between seasons, okay, so then we have these characters. I thought they were in the Mandalorian Forge Room. I'm still not positive that they aren't, but it could be a bar. And they're it's like a pet store without a license. So they say, well, because they're selling Ricky Tikki Tavis. You know, Ricky Tikki Tavi? It's Ricky Tikki Tavi, my brain just said. And if you need another thing to say that puts you in a good mood, Ricky Tikki Tavi. Has been a while. That was one of those Don Bluth films, I think, that I can't watch because it was too powerful, the emotions it evoked in me as a child. Also, I think it was like when teachers didn't feel good. That was one of the few movies we watched. That and I don't even know what else. So then Cara Dune shows up and she says, do you have a license to operate a I forgot, mongoose shop? And they say, no, and we're never going to have one. So she has to actually, to say, okay, please come with me, which of course they don't do. And they want to do not just a breakdancing contest, just see who can spin longer on their back. She wins, of course. She outspins everybody. She spins the whole time while they're still trying to do a backspin. You know what that is? Then she tries to clean up the place, mostly because they had pet tags that said the pets had been And then a mongoose comes and kisses her. That really happened in the episode. And climbs up her shoulder and says, I'll be your Ricky Tikki Tavi if you be, the child I'm supposed to watch over. And Cara Dune says, listen, kid, Cara Dune doesn't need watching over. Have a snack and hit the road. I got to get, maybe I'll get all these pets back where they belong. So she does that. She takes all the pet tags too and heads out. Then we have to open the Mandalorian, chapter 12, the siege. Then we have then the next shot is Mandalorian coming in for landing, bar closing time. Oh, there's also argument over the pet shop tips. Clouds, Mando's coming in, ship's coughing. And who's waiting there but his besties? Is it Grief Cargus or Reef Cargus? I always get it mixed up. And Cara Dune. And Mandalorian's back door won't even go down all the way to offload. And they say, well, one of our besties is back. They have that smile like we have when you see a friend, you haven't seen a friend in a while. And Mandalorian's looking shiny. Carl Weathers gives him a handshake. Mando says, how's my credit around here? Something could be arranged, right, Marshal? So now we learn Cara Dune is a marshal now. And he says, my ship's all jacked up. He says, I get my best people on it. A Randy Quaid lookalike and somebody in a helmet. And he said, are those your best people? He said, yeah, they're already waiting here for you. And then they want to see Oso. They say, have you been taking good care of them? And you better be. And they say, okay, come on. Everybody's happy. No, there's a lot of long looks, though, at Mando. So I don't know if, okay. No, I just figured it out. Okay. This took me, 4 or 5 episodes. So there you go. It's a little bit of information, that you could, if you rewatch these episodes as many times as I do, that someone looks back after Mando at around 7:55, and that person reappears at another point. I don't know if it's in this episode or another one. Then they go into town. It's booming. The marketplace looks good. Mando says, I'm proud of all of you. Town looks great. Your ship doesn't look so great, though. Marshal Dune is taking care of it. What happened? And he says, not whatever, the New Republic, not rebels anymore. And Grief Cargus says, they should leave Outer Rim alone. Then they go to a building, and Mando says, I can't believe this place is still standing. And they say, wait till you see inside. So I didn't know if it was his old office or the Werner hideout. Oh, but it's a classroom. Still don't know what it is. And there's like a C-3PO, whatever type of droid that is, teaching. I don't know if it's a protocol droid. I don't know if it's a protocol class, but this is a strange protocol because they just sit Baby Oso down at class. Right in the middle, there's an extra seat. I mean, I'm sure Grief called ahead, but said, hey, that kid that keeps putting his finger in his nose, take him out of his seat. We got somebody coming in, special guest. And they just sit Baby Oso down. Again, cuter than can be. All the kids are talking. They can't believe it. Some people are laughing. He barely fits in his seat. His shirt looks a little too big. He looks around, though. He's taking it all in. Or I guess I'm projecting on Baby Oso. I apologize. Baby Oso takes everything in. Then notices someone eating blue macaroons in the middle of class while the teacher's teaching. Oso says, hey, how about one of those for me with pure body language? And the kid goes, no, mind your own business. Oso persists, actually. At first, the kid ignores him. And then Oso says, come on, puts his hand out. And then the kid says no. And he says, you're not going to share? You got like 5 of them in a pack. How many orbits are in the Kessel system? Anybody remember that? And Baby Oso uses the Force to get a snack. I don't know I have no idea what any of those old Force all the old Jedi would say about that. I don't think. And Baby Oso he starts eating one, gets it on the shirt, and it just says pond or whatever you say in a video game. Kids whisper, class, sure. Let me just see. Please know what, I cute. Eat some more. Oso helps. Oso helps Oso's self. What? Thanks. Then fun music. Then we go to the garage. The fish person's there. And Mando rolls in, and Grief says, you guys met before, right? He ejects some spores or something. Mando says, surprised to see you. He goes, yeah. Mithril is his name. He's been keeping my books, but then he vanished, but so there's like a little bit of CEO's cargo, a lot of 350 years of work. And Mando says, yeah, don't forget, I can catch you too. And he goes, yeah, I didn't like being in carbonite. Then Cara Dune says, we got to get to discussion time, okay? Business. And Mando says, what do you mean about business? Red oil bilge. Moff Gideon. Oh, let's see. That might be coming up. Carbonite. Business. Oh, you have free time. We dumped your kid at the, your ship's got to get repaired, and the kid's getting watched at the school. So, we're roping you into something, buddy. And first Mando thinks about it, but he says, we could use your help. Help how? Cara Dune fires up this Navarro map, green zone, totally safe. But then we got this red thing down here. Old Imperial base. It was when Moff Gideon, that's where the troops came from. Been here since the Imperial expansion. No, almost, it's not abandoned, but there's not many people in there. But it's got stuff we got to get rid of. And Mando says, what do you want me to go in there? And Grief says, yeah, I want him off my planet. We take out that base, Navarro could be completely safe. Trade anchor for the sector. Cara Dune says, and the planet would be free. And, of course, Mando thinks about it. He says, what are we looking at? Then we have a land speeder, 4 jets. They shoot across into a gray canyon. Base has got a reactor. We just got to cut off the coolant and blow it up. Keep the speeder running. We see Mithril's drive, and it's a cliff base, which is always interesting. I don't know if it's built into the cliff, obviously, so that things can take off and stuff, but so it's hidden. I mean, it has a high ground, and it's in the middle of a canyon in the middle of nowhere. But then Grief, Kargas, and Mithril have a lot of back and forth about where to park and how long he's got to wait for them. They pull up. Well, remember, this is like a volcanic planet. Remember that show, Volcanic Planet? I think that was at one of the extra channels. But they go up to the door's busted for the elevator. Not rated, they're a pretty good joke, not rated for lava. Imperial trash. And then this was really funny. Because he also does that thing. Did you do this where you turn around, like the way you turn around to back up? Mithril says, all right, hit me up later when you want me to pick you up. I'm headed out. And Kargas says, park your gills. And he says, I'm dehydrated. And then he says, get a flange cutter and you get to work. And he says, I hate to leave my speeder behind. And then Mando jetpacks up. He says, I'll be back. He backs up to the base. Sit tight. Lots of talk. Mithril does a lot of rumbling to himself, which is funny. He's trying to get the door open with, bolt cutter. Cara Dune's like, can you pick it up? He goes, look, lady. And she says, I'm sorry, you don't talk to me like that. Then they say, Dank Ferrick. Then what do you call it? Stormtrooper falls asleep. And they say, let's take the elevator. And Mithril says, no, thanks. And she says, well, the lava tide's going to come in. And he says, okay, but he didn't think about his land speeder. Then we see a wide shot of the base. They get off the elevator. Mando's taking care of a couple stormtroopers. He says, I thought this base was empty. And they say, well, kind of empty. Reactor, we just got to drain the cooling again. That'll be it for the reactor. They say, look, this is Mithril says, look at this old, what does he call it? I wrote down one thing, but the closed captioning saying something else. What did I say? Mid-century marauder. I thought he said mid-century marauder. But he says something else. Check this out. There's a lot of wind, good music. Hey, look, Mint Trexler Marauder. But I think it's mid-century because I don't know. Everything's mid-century. You say, what kind of style is that? Okay, the doors, music. They go through a hall with speeder bikes, command calls. Security feeds down in the shuttle bay. That's from like the command center. And then Cara Dune does a little Vulcan action on the head officer in the control room. He said, check your relay hub. She says, I'll check your relay hub, bub. Caress off, key handy find, heat shaft, TK-147, Mithril use code cylinder, lava pit, whoa. So let's see. Yes, so they find a key, like a key code, I don't know what they call it, code tumbler or something. They go in the hall. They're doing some fast walking, access corridor. They dodge a couple stormtroopers. They say, check it out. TK-147, Section 4. Scan controls unreliable. Send a tech crew. Mando leads the way. They say, okay, Mithril, slice the door. He says, well, I got the code cylinder. Or Grief Karga says that. They open one door. And then they open another door, and they're in the spot they need to be in. And they say, whoa, and Grief says, Mithril, you go over there and do it. He says, there's no guardrail. Drain the coolant lines. We'll watch the door. And he goes, I don't like heights, heat, or lava. And he says, get moving, man. And he has to climb out there. It's like analog buttons. So he starts pushing buttons. Then he realizes, oh, I'll use the code cylinder again. They say, come on, hurry up. Analog buttons off. So he shuts it off with the code cylinder. Klaxons start ringing. 1815, I said to pause it. Let's see what it is. 1808, 1807, 1811. I don't see anything. The klaxons start ringing at 1815. Mind running full. Oh, no, okay, this is what happens. So it's not 1815. They say, all right, the lava's starting to boil. It's actually around 1825. There's another shot with the Mando running full speed down the hall. The second shot, he's not running full speed, but it just was a cool one. You don't really see that often. Of course, all the stormtroopers now are like, oh boy, there's alarms going off. This can't be good. So they see something, they go back another way. Then they go into this room. And we learned from the other one that the Imperial scientists wear a certain uniform or science officers. So they go in and they find these two dudes trying to mess up all the hard drives and even try blast drain the hard drives. And they go into this room and there's like all these aqua chambers with fish in them. And they say, what is this going on here with all these fish? Never seen anything like this. Very, like, I don't know if I like it. And I thought this was a base. Kara goes, this isn't military. This is a lab. And she goes, we got to hack the system. Mithril, do it. He goes, what about the reactor core? She goes, hack the system, man. Mandalorian says, I don't like this. Mithril hacks the system. He also has a comedy move where he says, excuse me, to one of the former scientists. The scientist from that worked for Werner shows up, Dr. Pershing. He says, yeah, we tried, but the experiments aren't working. It was promising, but then now it's not working anymore. And we're out of juice. We're not going to find any other thing with more, superfoods. So unless we have a volunteer that has like more superfood juice, guess we can't do anything. We've exhausted everything. It's just a kid. So that was so cute. You could only test much, and he says that these if we want to continue, we got to get the child back. I won't disappoint you, Moff Gideon. Don't worry about it. Mando says this has got to be old because Moff Gideon's out. I crashed his TIE fighter. And Mithril goes, it's 3 days old. Sorted it by, time. And Mando says, So does Grief Kargas. Gideon's alive. Then some stormtroopers show up. And we have a bit of a showdown. Which, is natural, fun. Same dude with Werner. Higher M count, exhausted supply, child, a small access to donor. Moff Gideon, 3 days old. Stormtroopers, Mando says, I got to go get the kid. So they say, okay, let's split up. So he jetpacks off. Dune, Kargas, and Mithril, they go another way. They have to deal with a lot of stormtroopers playing laser tag. Mando is definitely highly effective in his moves. He heads back the way they came. Cara Dune and Grief work well as a team with Mithril on backup. Mando shoots into the lava shaft, flies up it. And if you're a stormtrooper, you see a Mandalorian, just to run. I mean, that's all I could tell you because does not work out. They almost shut down the thing. That's the one thing I noticed because they head to the controls. But Mando gets to the top of the base. The stormtroopers are still trying to figure out that Mando takes off with his jetpack. Then Team 2, they have Mithril open a door. They get out to, the landing bay where they saw the mid-century tank. But then the elevator door opens with a bunch of stormtroopers. They're pinned down, behind some cargo. And let's see, we're pinned down. Cara Dune says, what do you know? There's a mid-century tank over there, mid-century marauder. And she runs for it, cover me. She gets in, starts that thing up. She says, come on, sweet baby. Or baby girl. She says, let's see what you can do. Starts the engine and pulls up, blocks the way so Kargas and Mithril can get in. Let's move. What are you waiting for, an invitation? Go, go, go. They get on board. She closes up the door. They try to go one way, but the door's closed, so they can't go that way. So she does a 180, I guess, not a 360. And she goes to the stormtroopers, get out of the way. She jumps and does this big jump, which was super cool. Except that they land at, and then there's very much like a movie where they're like, whoa, that kind of thing. and they land on Mithril's land speeder, unfortunately. So that doesn't work out for him. That was my speeder. And they take off again. One of the stormtroopers looks, and then, I don't know how many, 5 or 6, what do you call those things? What are those things called? How come I can't remember? Some speeder bikes. They head out, but it's a couple of people who must have been their first day on a speeder bike, because they said, what is why'd you take a job as a speeder bike pilot if you can't ride a speeder bike, which is a common thing. But these two of them crash before they've even gotten off the base property. And I just would say to myself, like, I don't know. I guess I thought I had a joke for it, but I don't. Well, I had a question about it, like, 2 down on the side, get out. So then they try chasing it. So there's 3 that make it. And then Grief Kargas hops on the defensive system, uses the defensive system right away to defend against one of them. And 1 down. Then the 2 of them do a split move. They each go up the side of the mid-century Marauder. Well, that should be a name of a wrestler, the Mid-Century Marauder. I guess they'd say that for a boxer, like as part of their lead up. The Mid-Century Marauder, the tank of, from, wherever. One of the speeder bike people climb on the Marauder. The other one gets too close to the side, and Kara takes him out. And so the one is on the top, and he says, I'm just going to leave a little present for you, Grief. Grief says, no, I have defensive systems trained on you. And he laughs. And he says, great news, we're free. But we see 4 TIE fighters take off. And also the base, the first time I watched it, I did not notice the base went bye-bye. But, and I said, oh, did the base make it? And someone corrected me, my daughter. She said, no, the base went bye-bye. So they say, we did it. We're headed home. But then the TIE fighters, 4 TIE fighters come in after the Mid-Century Marauder, which is, not good. And so then Grief says, okay, let me try to defend against these. Take evasive. I got it. And they're going as fast as they can. But, these TIE fighting pilots, they start adjusting their dials and stuff. And Grief's got readouts like an 8-bit video game. So he's trying. And he's like really stressed. And they're trying to get him. Cara Dune's just going side to side. Luckily, I guess because of the canyon, they can't all, they got to be lined up. Only one of them can really take the lead of the TIE fighters. They say, what are you doing back there? And he says, you want to do something? Be my guest. Let the magic do the rest. And he says, can't you go any faster? And she's trying to beg this thing on, changing gears and stuff. And they're going through this canyon, pretty sweet. One of the TIE fighters gets a lock the exact same time. But Grief gets it first, but then that takes out the defensive systems while it lands kind of on the Marauder. And Grief falls down. And they're almost there, but they still have 3 TIE fighters on them. So they say, oh boy, hurry, we're almost there. But then they're in this open plain. And right when they get a lock, right when all hope seems lost, Deus, not even Mando en Machina, the Mando in a machine comes, and he takes out the one that had the lock on them. In the Razor Crest, everybody says, yippee-yay, and the kid's on board eating macaroons. Mando says, you got that, kid? You see that? Then they have to chase one, and it's like a roller coaster, and Oso is loving the action. I mean, I think maybe we'll look back on the season and say, Oso got to experience Oso's childhood, finally. And so the Mando's chasing one of the TIE fighters, high altitude. Oso's still eating. I wonder if Disney would let you eat on board like that. And Mando takes out one. TIE fighter. Oh, so cheers. It's so cute, really. Holy moly. And then he does this cool flip move, high altitude flip with the brakes. Then does a spin move into the other TIE fighter to dodge it. He just has the pilot outclassed. And so Mando's cool as cucumber. And he wins that battle. Looks great, too. And then Grief is watching through binocs and saying, yippee yay. Even Mithril's like doing like fist pumps. And he says, not too bad, kid, huh? And then Oso barfs. Could use a relief band. And Mando says, oh boy. So, other than like the skills and the devastatingly, the ability to wear a helmet at all times, being handsome under your helmet like Pedro Pascal, all the skills, attitude-wise, me and Mandalorian are somewhat similar in the fact that he's grouchy like I am sometimes, and he says, oh boy. But yeah, so Oso throws up a macaroon, blue macaroon puke, not poop. Still has one left, though. And no, again, there's just a perfect balance of comedy. He says, oh boy, calls Grief. They say, good flying, man. He grabs he's trying to clean him and fly. He's wiping him down. We'll call it even. Don't you want to stop for a drink? Sorry, I have some onboard maintenance I got to take care of. Then I got to hit the road before I get in. And they say, good luck, my friend, flying. Then there's a wipe, like a screen wipe, so some time passed, and we see two X-Wings in Navarro, town proper. And one of the officers is interviewing Grief Kargas. And he says, so what happened again? The Razor Crest left, the base blew up. Remember anything else? He goes, no. Well, okay, so what time did the Razor Crest leave? And Grief says, what do you mean, Razor who? And they go, we got it on the transponder log. He goes, those things are dysfunctional. Control droids, this isn't Coruscant, man. They go, do you have anything else to add? He goes, nothing that I can think of, officer. But if something comes to mind, I'll let you know. I'll send you a gram. And I love that. And they says, can you hit okay, meeting's done. So the officer leaves. Mithril's looking very inquisitive. Grief says, what do you want? Cara Dune's outside. So the officer rolls up on her. She's with her Ricky Tikki Tavi. She goes, this is a Ricky Tikki Tavi. And he goes, you've done a great job here. And I heard you're quite a soldier. We could really use your help. And she goes, I'm not a joiner, Blue. And he goes, too bad. Well, he goes, there's something going on out here, though. They don't believe it in the Corps, but I know there's too many. These aren't isolated incidents. Someone's up to something. But we need some local support. And he goes, I heard you're from Alderaan. He goes, I served during Alderaan. She gets a pained look on her face. And he goes, did you lose anyone? She goes, hello, Alderaan. Alderaan. Everybody that was on planet. And he says, yeah, I know. It's I misspoke, but I'm sorry. And then he leaves her something, which I did have to wait and to find out later is a badge. So she's actually like officially the marshal now, I think. But she has a pained look. She doesn't even pick it up right away. And she goes, you got a badge for my mongoose too? Because my mongoose says, it's going to have to do a lot of defensive work. But he walks off. Then we see like an Imperial Star Destroyer type ship, a different model than I've seen before. It's flying overhead. It's got those big, And then we see an Imperial officer. Looks familiar. I didn't have a chance to figure out who this was. And they're talking to someone familiar from earlier. and who says the device is planted. Say, great, you'll be rewarded. Then we see people walking. The officer walks towards another room, hits a button. Some big doors open, and there's Moff Gideon in steam, man. And there's all these like suits. She goes, beacons on the Razor Crest, boss. And he goes, does he have the asset? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, okay, then we'll be ready. And the officer nods their head. Moff Gideon smiles and then looks at one of these giant suits of, I don't know, some sort of super soldier suit or something. I don't know. And then we see that there's a lot of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, probably 24. And the episode ends directed by Carl Weathers. First plate is mid-century marauder getting chased. Second plate is the fish tanks in the lab. Third plate is Mando flying over the base in the sky. Fourth plate is Cara Dune and Grief Kargas just chilling. Oh, Mando's talking to them. Next plate is the classroom. That's plate 5. Mando's watching class. 6 is a bridge of Imperial ship. Probably Moff. Then dusk in Navarro town. Plate 7. Plate 8 is the pet shop, and some effects we didn't even see in the pet shop. Mongoose with superpowers. Then the base at dusk, that's number 9. Number 10 is a little bit closer of the base with the mid-century marauder. And 11 is Oso and the cookies. The cookies are different in the initial thing. And Oso already looks like Oso has his tummy ache, and the episode ends. So another really enjoyable episode, I thought. But we'll have Wendy Marstrap here for just a few minutes to talk about some other Star Wars related stuff. Wendy, take it away. Hey everyone, my name's Wendy Marstrap, not Wendy like the wind, Wendy Marstrap, and I'm here on behalf of Sleep With Me, to help finish up, putting you to sleep like Scooter says. And I work for the show. Now, somehow they forgot to contact me for the first few episodes. And I listened to them and I said, Scooter, did you forget me? Wendy Marstrap, my do-back Dewey. We were on the podcast last year. You also forgot about, we've also been on your May the 4th, the Force Be With You episodes. Did you forget us? And Scooter said, oh, no, I was building up listener anticipation for your appearance, so they'd be ready for you, Wendy. So I'm a resident of Star Wars. To you, from your world, I am, by the magic of the fan fiction fantasy machine. I'm from a time long, long ago and far, far away, but I'm able to be here with you to give you information. Now, traditionally, I used to, traditionally I provide you, what's a dewback? It's a bit like a dinosaur, people say. But I usually talk about regions you could visit, kind of like a travel planner. But this year, Scooter said, well, let's let's just talk about some Star Wars facts from Wikipedia that may or may not be facts, Wendy. And you could do that. And we've talked about Tatooine before, but Scooter wanted me to start off with that. And it's a desert planet, it's been referred to in the historical films all the way back to the original Star Wars, home of Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker. It's located in the outer rim. It orbits a pair of binary G-type stars, Tattoo 1 and Tattoo 2. Tattoo 2, I like saying that. It has indigenous life forms such as womp rat, bantha, sarlacc, crate dragon that are adapted to the climate. and its proximity to the suns make life difficult, but it's located near key hyperspace routes, making it a haven for smugglers and other folks. There's also debris from shipwrecks and scavenging, sandworm issues, which make it tough to be a nomad. There has been an imperial presence, and they also supplied water because that's always tough to come by here. We have moisture farmers, and some people live in subterranean dwellings, and we have indoor crops to supply food. There is some springs out there in the Badlands of Beggar's Canyon, and that's what the Tuscan Raiders like to do. The Hutts, a family of they run the underground world, and because we were for a long time out of the reach of the Galactic Republic. Let's see, what else would you want to know? Well, Mas Pelgo was known as Freetown. It's a town in the northern hemisphere of Tatooine, and that came up on one of the episodes of Mandalorian. There's 2 spaceports, Mos Eisley, that's the biggest city, bustling spaceport, active underworld, wretched hive of scum and villainy, once referred to. It has a cantina. There's also Mos Espa, which is where the Boonta Eve class. I watched with Scooter. There was something about the Boonta Eve podcast race from Starkid. It was so fun. It was very funny. They didn't do me though. That was where Anakin Skywalker or Annie. So that's a little bit about Tatooine. It's mostly a desert environment. It has the Dune Sea and the Great Pit of Krakoon. So that's a little bit about that. What about Jawas? And now Scooter said, people don't know everything about Jawas. They inhabit the desert planet Tatooine, work as scavengers and tinkerers. They pick up broken machinery and fix it for sale. According to legend, they're bald and pale, and that's why they wear red or brown cloaks. And only their glowing eyes are visible. They use long-abandoned mining sand crawlers to get around, and they can house family units as well as store cargo. And they split up between working on board and off board. They're 1 meter to 1.5 meters tall. That's 3 to 5 feet for those of you in the U.S. And I think that's it. I mean, you could learn more, or you could watch an episode and see more. No, Crate Dragon this is really short. So sorry, Dewbacks, Scooter said. Don't forget about Dewbacks. So Dewback is also native to Tatooine, and that's my best friend Dewey the Dewback. And someone said, does Dewey doo-wop? Scooter said that, and I said, I don't understand what you mean. I'm from a land long ago and far, far away. But dewbacks are commonly a beast of burden. You've seen them in the movies before. They're like a Lizard version of a bantha in some sense, but longer, smoother, sleeker. They move slowly at night because, but they can go at a brisk pace for short distances. The empires use them. But they make great, Dewey makes a great friend. I can't speak for every dewback, but I can speak for Dewey. Crate dragons are also from native to the planet of Tatooine. They have a multi-chambered digestive tract. That's how mineral deposits known as crate dragon pearls can become grow in there, or form, I guess. There's a canyon crate dragon and the greater crate dragon. Canyon ones live in rocky caves and canyons and are safari ranges. They're the smallest of the crate subspecies. Yellow-brown camouflage skin, 5 horns, crown ridge, dermal bone plates, and a tail. They usually They're part of the circle of life with womp rats and lone banthas. Then you have the great dragons, which are rare, but we saw one up to 100 meters in length, 10 legs, blue scales. They love banthas, but they can, they've been, they've had other things to snack on. So that's great dragon. And then Tuscan raiders, is it like the sand people? Because you say, well, why are you calling them a raider? That sounds very empire-based. But they're nomadic. They live on Tatooine. There's a lot of legends about them that aren't necessarily true. But they are, they have a hardy life out there on the desert. And they do even search for great dragons as part of their adult journey to adulthood. The most revered member of the Tuscan clan is the storyteller who knows the life story of every member. And that's word for word. So that wouldn't be what Scooter would be into. And we get to see a lot more of their more mammalian side in this episode, where before this they were just depicted as from a very limited perspective. And finally, we'll cover banthas. Now, for some reason, there's someone really took time on this this Wikipedia article about banthas. It is long. And it talks about everything, even how they've been in movies before. They're said to be favored among fans. There was even a bantha puppet at the New York's Village Halloween Parade at one point. Let's see what facts I could give you without having to go too deep into this one. So how come dewbacks don't have as much? Well, I mean, I guess banthas are cute. They have lips and horns. They're also a beast of burden, used by Tuscans on Tatooine. One of the first human type characters introduced in the Star Wars fictional rendition of Life in My World. They were originally portrayed by an Asian elephant from Marine World. And it was filmed in Death Valley. This is a fictional version. The elephant's gait also served as a model for the movement of AT walkers. Biology. They're large quadrupeds, mammals, thick hair, furry tails, spiraling horns. A bit like your bighorn sheep, horn-wise, or muskox. Let's see. They 8 to 10 meters in height, or 8 to 10 meters in height. I don't know if that means length. Breathe oxygen, live up to 100 years, gestation period of 30 months. They become adults around 20 years of age. And they can weigh up to 8,800 or 4,000 kilograms. They're strong, can carry up to 500 kilograms, or 5 passengers. Now, this says that their planet of origin is unknown, but previously I heard that they were indigenous so I don't know. They're often associated with Tatooine, but they can be found in many other worlds, from deserts to tundra, because their fur keeps out excess cold or heat. And that's a little bit about banthas. So I hope you could picture a fuzzy, furry bantha smiling at you and saying, good job. Good job and you know who else is smiling and saying good job? And it's okay. Dewey was here to keep you company too, just like Scooter will be. My friend Dewey the Dewback's smiling at you too. So good night from Tatooine, from all of us at Tatooine, to all of you everywhere, particularly you, from me and Dewey the Dewback. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who reviewed the show over on Apple Podcasts. BD Ram says, loves the podcast. Scooter's a dream. Carrie Ann 70, love it. It does, he's right, it does take 2 or 3 times after. That's amazing. So worth it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They're a big fan of Big Farm in the Sky, PI. Yeah, I don't know when the next time we'll do a season of that is. One day we will, though. Sepia Giraffe, Scooter saves me from my insomnia. It's a treat through the years, helped with my chronic insomnia. I've made it a bit better. Keeps me company, puts me to sleep. Known about this, listened on and off for years. I remember listening first time and falling in love with the podcast. I've had chronic insomnia for a long time. If you do, go to your doctor and take care of yourself. However, sometimes it can be lonely, and almost no one I know is awake. Totally understand that. Even when Scooter doesn't allow me to sleep, this is really the heart of the podcast here, these kind of reviews. He's there to keep me company with his not-so-wild stories. My favorite episode is when he talked about salad for an hour. More often than not, I'm busy focusing on his stories, and then I fall asleep quickly. However, I've made it to the end of an episode, and it makes me feel less alone. It definitely puts me to sleep more often than not. Even better is having a buddy to stay awake with if I can't sleep. Thank you. Thanks. That's really a thing. Guy D with about a lot of ones. Amazing. Scooter helps me sleep. Never get through an episode. I support that. Scooter supports the members of his community, and that the fact that Black Lives Matter, and that helps create a safe place for me. I actually really value that in the podcast. Then Jackie says, this podcast is supposed to help you sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 question marks. No way. Is this a joke? Thoroughly confused. So that's like where you say, yeah, Jackie's like exactly right. Definitely not for her. Sounds like Jackie sleep whispers because Jackie said it's a little too loud. So maybe sleep whispers is perfect for you. Brookie AM says amazing, puts me right to sleep. Caitlin says thumbs up, 5 stars. Never heard the end of the podcast. I started listening earlier before going to bed, and that's a ringing, and then I would fall asleep. That's a ringing endorsement in my book. All intro episodes are my favorites. J. Lane says that the ads are growing to 35 minutes, which just is not true. Because we only have a certain number of ad spots where there could be ads, but they feel that way. So, they stopped listening, I guess. And M. Taylor 10 says, so helpful. Love, 5 stars. Thank you. And then SLV, Sleep Changer, cuts through racing thoughts to keep me up. Great for getting my mind off stuff that would wake me up. Helps me get back to sleep. It creates a familiar, safe place wherever and whenever I'm trying to get to sleep. Scooter's voice is untraditionally soothing. Took me an episode or 2. Thanks, Scooter. And then they say, yeah, some people say this stuff is controversial, but it's just his way of welcoming everybody. So thanks for that. Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to review the show over on Apple Podcasts. And let me just see the other things you can check here. Still our friends from We Fix Space Junk, the last people to write a review on Podchaser. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. Sleep With Me exists as a free podcast because if people support the show directly or support our sponsors, it's just the reality of the show, so I can be here for you. So I appreciate those people that do that. And not everybody has to. That's a nice thing. So we just need the people that want to support the show and that feel that to support it. And then a free way to support the show is to spread the word, let people know about it. I really appreciate that. And I think that's it. Here's something else before I tuck in I want you to know about. Good night. Hey, everybody, Scoots here, tucking you in and letting you know if you're listening and you're saying, I want a more comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me, but I also want the Sleep With Me logo on it. You could check out our Sleep Phones merch store at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. It's all sleep phones, the whole lineup with the Sleep With Me, Sleep With Me logo on there. Pretty cool. You could get there at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones and then use our promo code Sleep With Me. And you'll get an extra $5 off. How do you want me to? You want me to tuck in there? Move it? Move those blankets? Okay, how about that? Okay, you got it. Good night.